Continuing further, children, from the phenotype. As I just told you, G for genotype, P for phenotype. If G is the genetic makeup or the type of genes present in an organism, then P is the physical appearance or the type of physical appearance of an organism that could be observed from outside. Alright, and this phenotype is controlled by the genes of the body. So the phenotype is controlled by the genotype. Moving further, the homozygous. Homo means same and heterozygous, the term hetero means different. See, homozygous is a condition in which both the alleles are identical or same for a particular character. That is a condition. For example, AA. This will be homozygous. Or RR. Suppose A is for axial flower or R is for red flower. So this condition, when both the alleles are identical, you can see both are dominant or both are again dominant. Suppose both are small, recessive. This also will be homozygous. Alright. But coming to heterozygous means a condition in which both the alleles are different. For example, one is capital, the other is small. This becomes heterozygous. Or capital R small by followed by small r, again this is heterozygous. Alright. So this depends on the type of different alleles present in a particular character. Monohybrid cross. Mono means one. During forming a cross, children, this you'll understand better with our crosses next time. It is a cross which is carried out by taking one pair of contrasting character at a time. That is, a parent which is differing only in the height. For example, one parent is tall, the other is exactly opposite, it's dwarf. Or one is with red flower, the other is with the white flower. So these would be forming only one character at a time and thus monohybrid cross. The monohybrid ratio is the ratio obtained in a monohybrid cross. This we have to do it by working. Just now I have given you for the notes, but this has to be worked out, children. Next time we will be doing the cross and that I will do it with you and that will be better understood. Monohybrid phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic means whatever observable characteristic is there is 3:1. Every time you will see it. Very interesting answers you will get it. Monohybrid genotype ratio would be 1:2:1. Similarly, dihybrid means di means 2. So herein there are two pairs of contrasting characters. That is a parent having tall into dwarf, but again with one more character, as I said. Suppose tall with red flowers and it is being crossed with let's say dwarf with white flowers, right? So it becomes TTRR double D double T double R. That means this T is for tallness, double T small will be for dwarfness, capital R would be for red flower and small r would be for white flower. So this means observing two characters at a time, that becomes dihybrid. This will be more clear, children, with the working. So don't try to just mug up. You have to understand. Dihybrid ratio, once again, through the crosses. Next time you'll be better understanding. I have written you for the sake of understanding at one place. The phenotypic ratio in a dihybrid cross, 9:3:3:1. Whereas the genotypic ratio is very complex and you don't have to learn it. F1 generation. The full form of F1 is first filial. See, we move from 1 to F. First filial generation. And this means the children born by crossing two parents. This again would be clear by the working. Right? F2 generation means second filial generation, that is produced by crossing two individuals of F1 generation. Autosome and sex chromosome, I have already told you in this karyotype how chromosome 1 pair to 22, they are called as autosomes. They are same in different individuals, but in males and females. But in the 23rd pair, this is what brings the difference, children, of the gender. If it is XX, it's a female. If it is XY, it will be the male. Then X chromosome, I had shown you in the picture also how it is larger than the Y. And herein it is larger and therefore carries more genes. Sex-linked inheritance, it is the appearance of a trait which is due to presence of an allele exclusively either on X or Y chromosome. See, sometimes, as I said, the female is XX and the male is XY. Suppose there's a defective X in male. Suppose this X is defective. Then obviously this male becomes a sufferer. But sometimes, let's say only one is defective, right? Suppose this is defective, he becomes a sufferer. But if one is defective and the other is not, then she does not become a sufferer, but she remains a carrier. So there are some diseases, children, that are basically due to the defective X chromosome, or sometimes the Y chromosome also, which is defective, right? So it depends. And such diseases are called sex-linked inheritance, right? Then X-linked inheritance, certain disorders due to heredity, such as hemophilia, which I'm sure you've heard it, it's a genetic disorder, and color blindness. Again, males are the sufferers generally more than what females are. These are more common in males than females. And why? Because they are due to genes which are occurring on X chromosome. So male, if only one X is also there defective, he becomes a sufferer, unlike to female, where both have to be defective. When both are defective, then the female will be a sufferer. But if only one is defective, the other is not, then she will be a carrier. The son would be the sufferer. Son may or may not be the sufferer in the next generation. Moving further, children, certain genetic facts. I have already told you about the father of genetics, how he was an Austrian monk, born in a peasant family, studied science and maths at the University of Vienna, wanted to be a teacher, but then he failed in the examination, was later called as teacher of teachers, and various experiments were performed later by the garden pea, or the scientific term as Pisum sativum. Then, according to the latest researches, the number of genes found in humans, there are nearly 30,000 genes in humans. Chromosome number 1 has the largest number, that is 2968, and the chromosome Y has the fewest, that is 231 only. The word gene was coined by the geneticist Wilhelm Johansen in 1909 to describe what parents pass to their offspring. That time, not much of genes was studied, but the first time the coining was done by Johansen. Now, there's certain uncommon hereditary traits. Maybe you've heard them, maybe you've seen them also. So, polydactyly, I'll just show you. Look at this picture of polydactyly. This poly means many and dactyl means digits. Count the digits in your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some people are seen to have more than 5 fingers, or in their toes also there are an extra. So this means polydactyly, and this is a dominant feature, right? A dominant trait. Albinism, which means total absence of skin pigment or melanin, it is a recessive trait. Similarly, the camptodactyly, which is inability to straighten the little finger, is a dominant trait. Then, there are certain other interesting things. I'll just show you a picture of a small boy. His name is Akshat, and he was from Bareilly, UP. This is the stage of 15 months. This child had 7 fingers in each hand and 10 toes. If you can see it more closely, 7 fingers and 10 toes in each foot. Therefore, 34 digits in all. And he was successfully operated at AIIMS, New Delhi in 2011 to remove the extra digits and reshaping a few of them in both hands and feet. So this is what you're talking about, camptodactyly. It's a dominant trait. Then, there are 3 reasons why the father of genetics, he selected only garden pea and why not some other plant. There are 3 reasons. Number 1, many varieties were available in alternative forms. That is, again, I'll show you a table. It's here. Mendel has done the experiments into 7 contrasting characters. See, look at the varieties. Some flowers were purple, the other were white. Some were yellow, the other were green seeds. Then round shape or the wrinkle shape of seed. Pod color, pod means the fruit. Some were green, the other plants with yellow. The shape sometimes of the pod was inflated or constricted. The flower position sometimes axillary or terminal, and some of the plants were tall or dwarf. Remember, this left side is the dominant trait and the right side is the recessive. Children, this you have to learn by heart, right? So Be careful that you have to learn it for your next time class, for your crosses that you will be starting. Coming back to the same topic, why Mendel had selected garden pea. One was with many varieties, as just now you saw. The other is peas are normally self-pollinated, but self-pollination could be prevented by removing corresponding reproductive parts, that is male part stamens and the female part carpels, from the flower, as well as by cross-pollination artificially, right? So one point I have missed, the second one over here. Varieties were available in pure form that bred true, B-R-E-D, that bred true, that is produced the same type generation after generation, right? So this is again what you have to understand clearly. Coming back to the laws of genetics, children, as you can see, both of the things I have already marked as important. It's a very sure question of the council, somehow or the other. 3 reasons why he selected garden pea. Please learn it by heart. And also the 3 laws of inheritance. One law is always asked every year. So the first law that Mendel gave was law of dominance, right? Out of a pair of contrasting characters present together, only one is able to express while the other remains suppressed. This will be more clear next time with the cross that will be forming, children. Law of segregation, also called the law of purity of gametes. The 2 members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. And law of independent assortment, when there are 2 pairs of characters, the distribution of alleles of one character into gametes is independent of the distribution of alleles of the other character. Coming to pedigree family chart. Pedigree or family chart. I'd just like to show you first. It is something like this. Here. This is a pedigree chart. What is special in this is, always remember, a female is depicted by a circle, right? The female that is shown by a circle, whereas the male is always shown by a square. Then also, children, sometimes you can see the circles are solid or hollow, right? Similarly, the squares also, it's not shown here, but squares also may be solid or sometimes hollow. So what is a pedigree chart? Pedigree chart is also called as family chart, is a diagram that shows the occurrence and appearance of phenotype of a particular gene or organisms, right? Of a particular gene or organisms and its ancestors from one generation to the next. Males, as I just now showed you, squares, females by circles. Hollow represents the usual expressed character, right? Whereas solid represents the unexpressed character. Like for example, if this is for tongue rollers, you can see that the symbol circle for females, square for males, then the solid symbol indicates the character being traced. For example, the solid one here is a non-roller, whereas the hollow one is a roller. That's what I told you. The hollow ones is the usual expressed character, but the solid one is the unexpressed character. Alright. Then Punnett square. This you'll be doing next time again, as I told you, in the monohybrid and dihybrid cross. Punnett square is again a simple diagram. Why it was called Punnett? After the name of the person, Punnett, who discovered the method of making these crosses, in which different types of gametes of the mother, that is parent, is placed on one side and the other, that is a male, is placed on the other. This is an arrow right, is placed on the other side. Then the possible combinations, that is genotypes of the opposite gametes, are given in the subsquares, and the resulting phenotypes can be written under the genotypes. And the last thing for today, mutation, which means a sudden change in one or more genes in the number or in the structure of chromosomes. Like nowadays, children, in this time of coronavirus, you're hearing a lot about the COVID disease. In this, you know what, the virus is constantly mutating. That's challenging or giving a problem for the researchers to make different vaccines that could be available, etc. So what is mutation? It is a sudden change in the gene structure or number in the structure of chromosomes sometimes. And to understand more, the example is sickle cell anemia. It's a disease in the RBCs of the affected people where the RBCs take up the structure of a sickle, right? And therefore, the decrease of the capacity of oxygen carrying capacity. It's a blood disease caused by gene mutation, and this causes change in DNA resulting in the production of sickle-shaped RBCs, which becomes a problem for the patient. Also, the radioactive radiations, which can alter the gene structure, and the effects can be seen generation after generation. For example, an atomic explosion in the year 1945 during World War II in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki must have been remembering. This led to a number of deformities in the body of plants and animals which are still persisting today. Right? So today was just a brief start, children, with certain concepts that you must please go through, make a note, read it once or twice, try to understand. And if you haven't understood anything, children, don't be restless, because I am telling you most of the concepts will be more clear only after the working with the genetic crosses that we'll start with next time, and I'm sure you will revert back to it with the normal. This I have given you today so that you at least make up the things at one place, and whatever you have to write should be with you so that you can read again and again. And next time will be like a mathematical session with you, with a question that I'll be solving with you over here, one after the other step, and believe it, it's very interesting. So for today, just now only this. Thank you so much.